Welcome to another Sewing for a Living tutorial in which I'm going to show you how to increase the size of the waist on jeans. Here I have a pair of jeans that I need to upsize at the waist area. I've been using different ways to do it, including adding a denim piece at the center back seam or at the side seams. But I found out that adding elastic is actually the way that works best for a couple of reasons. First, the elastic stretches. This is useful when you are not sure exactly how much to add to the waistband or the size of the waist changes. Second, black elastic looks somewhat like a decorative element, while denim fabric pieces could never exactly match the color of the jeans. Therefore, it's easy to tell that the jeans have been altered, so for quite some time now, this is the way we prefer to enlarge the waist on jeans. But if you would rather use denim to enlarge the waist, you can still follow the steps described here. Here is how to do it yourself. First, we need to detach the waistband from the side seam so that we can release the side seam stitches. Remove just enough of the stitches so that you are able to release the side seam. You don't want to break a lot of the stitching here because otherwise you will have to restore it at the end. Here I have to break 2 stitches. And the side seam is released. Then I'm going to remove the top stitching that jeans usually have on the side seam right under the waistband. I'm going to start at the bottom as low as I need to go and work my way all the way up. How low you should go depends on what you are trying to achieve. If you need to enlarge the jeans only at the waist, you should go just a couple of inches below the waistband. If the jeans are tight at the hip area as well, you might want to join 2 pieces of elastic and go lower on the side seam. In that case, you will need to remove those rivets on the sides of the pockets so that you can sew. You might put new ones later or just leave it like that, since it's not that easy to notice. Then I'm going to cut straight through the waistband. I want to cut exactly at the mark of the side seam. Next, I need to open the joining side seam as well. I try to go approximately 3/4 of an inch or 2 centimeters higher than the top stitch so that I can sew. This is how it is supposed to look like. I'm going to clean the remaining threads and do the other side. Measure in order to be sure that both sides are going to be equal and do the same on the other side. Now I have both sides prepared and it's time to put the elastic. Measure and cut a piece of the elastic that equals the difference between your waist and the jeans waist. Divide it by 2, 1 piece for each side. You might want to make them just a bit more narrow than the waist measurements so that the elastic does its job and the waist doesn't end up to be too wide. Next, I need to measure the middle of each elastic piece and draw this V shape on it. Then cut through the lines and come out with two triangular pieces. Now let's attach those pieces to the jeans. Make sure you are using a needle that is appropriate for jeans. Then, using the straight stitch, attach one of the pieces to the front. Start at the top of the waistband, align it nicely and sew down. The side seam would stick out a bit more because there is seam allowance and we've cut straight through the waistband, so there is no seam allowance on it. If you prefer, pin it prior to sewing. I'm going to go ahead and sew it like this. Then do the other side. I'm going to search at those seams in order to make sure that the seams are going to be more durable as well as that the fabric and elastic won't unravel. If you don't have a serger, use the narrow zigzag stitch or any other overcasting stitch on your sewing machine. Then attach the elastic to the back. Make sure to align the piece to the jeans precisely and make the seam. Again, pin it if you need to make it easier to sew. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Here I see that I need to go a bit more in so that the elastic is nicely attached. I'm going to repeat this side. This time I approve what I've done, so I'm going to serge on the seams on both sides as I did on the front. The last thing we need to do is top stitch. I've picked a matching denim thread and I'm going to fold the seam allowance towards the denim fabric and top stitch. I'm going really slow because all those layers of fabric and elastic got very thick. I'm careful not to break the needle. Once I restore all the top stitching on the side seam, I pivot with the needle down and go up to top stitch on the back side. And here is how it looks on the inside and on the outside. I'm going to do the other side as well. I've managed to enlarge this waistband with 6 inches or 15 centimeters without touching the hips. The elastic gives the waistband additional stretching. If you want to enlarge with less inches, use smaller piece of elastic. If you want to enlarge the hips as well, go lower on the side seam, joining two pieces of elastic on top of each other and make sure to use a seam that stretches as well. I hope you like this tutorial. If so, give it a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.